Give Bam Rodriguez Inoue right now. I've seen enough. Bam Rodriguez dispatches of Antonio Vargas in 6 rounds, knocking him down once in the 5th round and then finishing the show in the 6th round. A very, very entertaining fight. And you know what? If we talk about it round by round, up until the 5th round, many people had Vargas in the lead. I had it 4-4 going into the 5th round. I thought Antonio Vargas had won 2 rounds. I thought Bam Rodriguez had won 2 rounds. I thought it was very, very close, but you could have nudged 3-1 in favor of Vargas. I don't think Bam Rodriguez was up 3-1 though. So it was a very, very, very close fight going into the 5th round. But then it all changes, and it changes quickly. Within the first minute of the 5th round, Bam Rodriguez lands a beautiful left hook that lands right on the chin of Antonio Vargas. Antonio Vargas goes straight down, almost face planting onto the floor, and you think, there's no chance this fight continues. Like, it looked like the shot that you land to knock somebody out. But Vargas, showing his warrior spirit, gets up, gets back to his feet, and sees out the rest of the round. And he actually, you know what? The next minute after the knockdown, it was looking dangerous for Vargas because Bam Rodriguez really started to apply the pressure, started to rip to the body, started to rip to the head, landing some big shots. But Vargas just kept his feet, held on, got through the next minute, and then for the last minute, it actually went back to being quite a competitive nature. Thought Vargas, all right, he's got his feet back, he's got his mind back, and he's ready to go. Then comes round 6, and Bam Rodriguez goes straight back to work. And I was on live stream talking about the fight, watching it as we were going, and I said, you know what, I wonder if Bam Rodriguez is going to, go back to what he was doing, just go back to working and pivoting, waiting for the shot, or whether Bam's going to go in there like an absolute killer and just try and get this guy out of there. And the moment I said that, Bam Rodriguez lands a 5-piece combination, at the end of which a straight left that shatters the nose of Antonio Vargas, sends him to the floor and knocks him out. A beautiful straight left hand as part of a 5-punch combination and finishes the show. A great performance by Bam Rodriguez in a fight that, you know, his first step up in this new division. It wasn't all smooth sailing. He did say at the end of the fight that he did feel the power of Antonio Vargas, and I thought that was visible in the fight. Like I said, 4 rounds and you had it 2 apiece. It wasn't until that thunderbolt of a left hand that Bam Rodriguez landed that really changed the way that fight was going. But 4 very close rounds, 4 competitive rounds. Antonio Vargas not a massive hitter, but, you know, for Bam Rodriguez to say he was feeling the power, feeling the punches, I think speaks volumes. But nonetheless, Bam Rodriguez shows why he's one of the pound-for-pound best in the sport right now, becomes a 3-division world champion. And as exciting as that fight was for the 6 rounds that it went, as competitive it was up until the 5th round, Bam Rodriguez just showing how classy he is. Like, that knockout. I actually think the first knockdown, that left hook, that thunderbolt left hook, was the best shot of the night. But the straight left is the one that closes the show. And the biggest talking point is, what is next for Bam Rodriguez? What is next for this superstar? Like, 26 years of age, 3-division world champion, his first step up to bantamweight, and he scores a knockdown followed by a knockout punch against Antonio Vargas. Like, that is an unbelievable performance, and I don't think you can overstate that. I think, number one, Bam Rodriguez, the step up in itself adds to that. Like, Bam Rodriguez stepping up a division, lots of question marks because it is a new division. Superfly to bantamweight, new division, new challenges. Antonio Vargas, somebody that has had some very high-octane competitive fights against a lot of people. He's a good puncher. He's somebody that brings the action. He's going to be right in front of you. He's going to be punching at you. And we saw all of that. And Bam Rodriguez came through some of the adversity because it wasn't smooth sailing the whole entire fight. And he found that big punch. And when you talk about what's next, during the week, there was a whole heap of talk about what's next for Bam Rodriguez. And most of the talk for Bam Rodriguez and what's next has been sort of deflections. It has. And this is going to put a dampener on this whole fight and sort of the night when we talk about what's next. But all the talk in this week was, you know, Robert Garcia was asked, and it was always, oh, well, we're going to have to see how he goes. We're going to have to see how he adjusts. Good chance we take on Christian Medina for a unification. And then it was another day that we were saying, all right, it's going to be Takuma Inoue first and then Naoya Inoue. And it was always just, it just sounds to me as though there will be one more fight for Bam before he takes on Naoya Inoue. And what sort of cements that is the fact that Bam Rodriguez in this fight, although like you just read it on paper, you say he knocked him down in round 5, he knocked him out in round 6. Perfect performance. You couldn't have asked for more. But The fact that Bam Rodriguez, you could see that he did struggle in 2 of those rounds and he was getting pushed back a little bit, was being overwhelmed at points against somebody that is a bit of a brawler in Antonio Vargas. The way he was talking, the way that his team are talking, the fact that he said he could feel the punches, that, it was a little bit different, are all things that are pushing me towards saying he's going to have one more fight at 118 before he moves up to take on Inoue. He's going to have one more fight at bantamweight before we see him at super bantamweight, which isn't what people want to hear. It's not what I want to hear. I actually think it puts in jeopardy the ability to make that fight happen. I think Bam Rodriguez can fight as soon as probably August, September. He didn't take a whole lot of damage tonight, but he still needs to recover, still needs to rebuild, get another big fight. Especially if he wants to have a 2 unification fight, then it's going to be pushed back even further, September, October. There is the worry that that fight against Christian Medina doesn't go as perfectly. There is the chance that Bam Rodriguez gets injured. There is the chance that Inoue says, I'm just too old. I can't make super bantam. It's going to have to be featherweight. And then it's all right. Now we're looking at Bam Rodriguez and saying he's not trying to adjust to 2 divisions higher from Superfly. He's now trying to adjust to 3 divisions. And where there the question marks were of, can he perform at super bantam? It's now, how the fuck's he going to perform one more up at featherweight? And that's a big step up, in my opinion, from super bantamweight to feather. But it's an even bigger step when you're saying this guy's a super flyweight guy moving all the way up to featherweight. So they are running the risk of possibly one of the biggest fights in the world, the biggest pound-for-pound fight in the world right now, depending on where you rank them. Everybody has now Inoue first, all right? So if Inoue's first, Bam Rodriguez was sitting in around 5 or 6. He's just conquered his 3rd division at 26 years of age. There's a very good argument to jam him into the top 3. So we could be looking at 2 of the top 3 pound-for-pound guys. Do you want to wait on that super fight? And that's the biggest question. And it all comes down to Robert Garcia, how he's feeling about Bam's performance tonight. I think Bam Rodriguez, if we go back to talking about this fight, because we did talk about it at the start, and we're going to finish by talking about it. Bam Rodriguez's performance tonight, it was, I don't want to say it was saved. I think he is the better fighter. I do think he won. I tipped him to win by round 8 knockout. I didn't think the first few rounds were going to be as close as they were. I didn't think Bam Rodriguez would be complaining about how much power Antonio Vargas had. And those are the things that I look at and say, tonight's performance, you won. It was an emphatic victory. It was a great highlight reel. It was a thunderous left hand to get the first knockdown. It was a better left hand to finish the fight. A straight left, straight on, nose bleeding, back slamming into the canvas. I mean, it is a great performance by Bam Rodriguez, and you're going to see it and you're going to love it and you're going to say all that. But they were 2 tough rounds. And if you're saying, all right, I struggled with Antonio Vargas' power tonight, somebody that, for me, he wasn't even really stepping into those punches. Like, he was doing a lot of shoe shining punches. They were sort of, let me make sure they land instead of throwing everything into it. Because if I overextend, if I overreach, he's going to counter me. So it was, all right, let's throw everything measured. Let's make sure everything lands. 4 or 5 punch combinations, but everything at 60%. If you're saying, all right, Bam Rodriguez was feeling this guy 60%, how's he going to be when he feels 100% of Inoue? And that's the thing about that fight. And that's why I don't think it's going to happen next. I want it to happen next. Don't get me wrong. I will be calling for that fight continuously. That is the fight to make. That's what I want to see. Let's make it next because it might not come back around. But it doesn't sound to me that it will. I would have liked to have seen, look, Bam Rodriguez, it's a stupid fucking statement to make, isn't it? That it would have been nice to see what Bam Rodriguez would have done if he didn't land that shot in the 5th round. But he's in there to land that shot. So it's really a silly argument. But if this did go 10 or 12 rounds and it was that competitive nature, he didn't land that one big shot, I would have liked to have seen how much Antonio Vargas really grew into that fight. Like the fact that we went into round 5 before the knockdown, the opening few rounds, lots of people had it 3-1 in favor of Vargas, shows you how competitive that fight was until, Antonio Vargas probably got a little bit overconfident and Bam Rodriguez just does what he does. It's just how he's just one of the most perfect fighters in the world right now. There's a reason he's so high in pound for pound. That combination, I mean, even said at the end, he says that I just threw a combination that I don't throw. I don't throw combinations that long. I don't throw 4s and 5s. And you know what? I threw it finally for once and it scored me a knockout victory. And he is somebody that is growing, he is developing because he's 3-division world champion. He won almost all the belts and he had the chance to become undisputed at Superfly. Chose to move up. Fair enough. There's bigger things there's bigger fish to fry moving up. then no offense to Andrew Maloney. Yes, you would have become undisputed, but you're hunting the big fish in Inoue. He's a 26-year-old man that is a 3-division world champion. Most of the time, you don't become 3-division world champion pushing for your 4th division, unified in multiple divisions, pushing the top 3 pound for pound list at 26 years of age. Like, that is an unbelievable thing to be doing. And he came in today, new division, and he just knocked out the champion, Antonio Vargas. He knocked him down in round 5, knocked him out in round 6. A brilliant performance by Bam Rodriguez. And you know what? I've maybe overstated the win. I maybe understated the win. I thought it was a great performance. It was competitive for as long as it lasted. But once Bam landed that shot in round 5, you knew once that left hand landed in round 5 that Antonio Vargas wasn't seeing the final bell. And that speaks volumes of the skill and the ability of Bam Rodriguez and that killer instinct. I love when fighters aren't content with going to a decision. He wanted to get him out of there, and he showed that. And he did it. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't already subscribed, please do, so you can catch the next live stream, because we did do that whole fight on live stream. And hopefully, no promises, we are going to be doing Freedom 250 on live stream tomorrow. So if you're around, it'll be out. If it's going to happen, it'll be scheduled. You'll see it. If not, subscribe anyway. And let me know all your thoughts about this fight. And does Bam take on Christian Medina next, Takuma Inoue next, or Naoya Inoue next? Who do you think he's going to face? Who do you want to see him face? And I think I know the answer to the latter. I'm out of here, guys. See ya!